Hello everyone. In this video lecture, I'm going to describe about proteins. Protein is a biomolecule. It is made up of polypeptide chain. So how the polypeptide chain is formed? It is formed by the combination of different amino acids. So these amino acids combined together make bond with each other by peptide bond. So, a polypeptide chain with more than 100 amino acids with molar mass greater than 10,000 AMU or Dalton is called a protein. So, AMU or Dalton is nothing but it is unit of the molar mass. So, a polypeptide chain should contain more than 100 amino acids. Only in that case it can be considered as protein, but exception is there. That exception is insulin. Insulin is a protein, but its amino acid residues is only 51. So it has 51 amino acid residues. Even then it is considered as insulin and it is functional. So insulin is a hormone. So you should remember this one. Okay, this is important. Now, on the basis of molecular shape of proteins, proteins are of two types, that is globular proteins and fibrous proteins. So you might be saying that we have various body parts or structure like hair and our nails, right? These are made up of fibrous proteins. So fibrous proteins are made up of polypeptide chains which are arranged like fibers, right? So it will form fibers, and that is why it is long, thin, and polypeptide chain will lie side by side to form fibers. So example is keratin in hair, collagen in skin and bone. So what is this? Keratin is a fibrous protein, collagen is a fibrous protein. It is found in skin and bone, and these fibrous proteins are insoluble in water. Okay, so fibrous proteins are insoluble in water. These are structural proteins. So collagen is a structural protein. It forms bone and cartilage. Keratin is present in the fingernails. It forms our nails and hair. So this is tough and insoluble in water. While globular proteins exist in a folded form in spherical shape. Okay, it will form the 3D spherical shape. Example is hemoglobin, insulin, enzymes, etc. And these are soluble in water. Its function is it helps in metabolic process, like enzymes help in metabolic process. So plasma proteins like antibodies, these help in the defense system. It perform defense mechanism to save our body from foreign particles like bacteria or viruses. So these are the differences between fibrous proteins and globular proteins. So on the molecular shape, on the basis of molecular shape, proteins are of two types, fibrous proteins and globular proteins. Now, based on the presence of number of polypeptide chains, there are two types of proteins, monomeric proteins and multimeric proteins. So if the protein is made up of only one polypeptide chains, okay, so only one polypeptide chain will be there. So it will form what? It will form the protein. So it is known as monomeric, right? It will So it is the monomeric protein. Lysozyme, myoglobin, these are monomeric protein made up of only one polypeptide chain. While multimeric proteins made up of more than one polypeptide chain. That is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is also a protein. It is found in our blood. So it is made up of 4 polypeptide chains arranged in a globular fashion. Okay. So 2 beta chain and 2 alpha chains. So these together will form what? This is the hemoglobin. It contains more than one polypeptide chain. That is why it is known as multimeric proteins. Now, based on the presence of different kind of amino acids that are present in the polypeptide chain to form the protein. Okay, so this is also of two types: first class first class proteins and second class proteins. So first class proteins is also known as complete proteins. Why? Because this protein will have all the essential and non-essential amino acids in their polypeptide chains. That is, all the 20 different types of amino acids will be present in the protein. That is why it is called as complete protein, and its example is animal protein. Second class proteins is also known as incomplete protein. Why? Because it lacks few types of amino acids, and its example is plant protein. Now the classification based on structure. So it is very important. So first one is the primary structure. Right here you can see the primary structure. Primary structure is nothing but it is just the amino acids arranged in a sequence and bond with each other by peptide bond. Right? So you can for understanding, you can understand it like this. This is the alphabet. So primary structure is nothing but the arrangement of amino acids, and you can know that what kind of amino acid is present where. Now second one is the secondary structure. So this amino acid will arranged like this. Why? It will form the spiral like structure. So it will be known as alpha helix. Here you can see alpha helix or pleated sheet. So sheet like structure will be formed. So this is the secondary structure. Tertiary structure will gain the three-dimensional conformation, and here many different bonds are found, and it will have the active sites too. So it is the functional structure, tertiary structure. Finally is the quaternary. So here more than 2, 3, 4 polypeptide chains can be seen. So you can say that many tertiary structured polypeptide chain will combine here to form the quaternary structure. So here we can see in detail. You might be seeing in this picture the primary protein structure. So it tells about the sequence of amino acid in the chain. Next, it will take this two kind of structure. So it will form the alpha helix or the beta pleated sheet. So local folding of the polypeptide chain occur. It means that there is here only one polypeptide chain is there, but it is forming the alpha helix structure like this. Okay, and in secondary structure it may be more than one polypeptide chain, and it will arranged like sheet. It will arranged like sheet, and between them bonds are existing. Okay, now the tertiary structure. So here you can see the alpha helical structure in the polypeptide chain as well as beta pleated structure too. So tertiary protein structure is three-dimensional folding pattern of the protein due to side chain interactions. So there will be interactions in the side chains which are located side by side. And finally the quaternary structure, that is protein consisting more than one amino acid chain, that is polypeptide chain. So in details you are going to study the alpha. This is the alpha helical structure of protein. So residues per turn will be having 3.6 amino acids. So this is the turn. So consider it from here to here. So this is one uh, turn. So this one turn will contain 3.6 amino acid residue, and rise per residue is 1.5 angstrom. So the consecutive, this is one amino acid and this is one amino acid, and the distance between, that is rise between the two amino acid, is 1.5 angstrom. Means the distance between the adjacent amino acid is 1.5 angstrom. So what will be the distance between the rise per turn? That is one pitch. The distance or the size of one pitch will be the residue per turn into the rise per residue. So it is 5.4 angstrom. Amino hydrogen, that is hydrogen bond with carbonyl oxygen located. It means that there are hydrogen bond existing in between these amino acids, okay, which is forming the loop. So what is this? Amino hydrogen bond with carbonyl oxygen located 4 amino acids away forms 13 atoms loop. It means that carbonyl hydrogen bond is formed between first and fourth amino acid, okay, that is 13 atoms away from each other. So if it is the first amino acid, it is going to form the hydrogen bond here, and this will be the fourth amino acid. So first and fourth will form the hydrogen bond. Why? Because one it has amino group as well as carboxyl group. So oxygen, hydrogen and nitrogen is there, so it can form the hydrogen bond easily. Now the primary structure. Amino acids are linked by peptide bonds. Normally they are non-functional except insulin. Insulin has primary structure but it is functional. It describes the sequence of amino acid connected together in a chain. Already I have told you. And now the secondary structure, formed due to hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bonds will be there, alpha helix, and it can exist in two forms, that is alpha helix and beta pleated sheet. Tertiary structure, 3D structure, is formed due to hydrogen bond, ionic bond, disulfide bond, because it is in the form of, it can take ionic form also, NH3 plus or COO minus, and many side chains will have the ionic state, so it forms the ionic bond also, and disulfide bond. So many sulfur containing amino acids are also there, so it is going to form the disulfide bond there too. And these are functional proteins. So tertiary proteins are functional. Quaternary structure. More than one polypeptide chains are linked together by hydrogen bond, disulfide bond, ionic bond, hydrophobic interaction. Example is hemoglobin. So classification based on composition. Simple protein and conjugated proteins. So simple proteins, only alpha amino acid are present. Its example is albumin, ovalbumin, lactalbumin and globulin. Conjugated proteins. So conjugated proteins will contain non-protein parts too along with the proteinous part. So non-protein part can vary. If it is bound with nucleic acid, it is known as nucleoproteins, and its example is histone proteins. Protein plus phosphorus, phosphoproteins, example casein, that is milk protein. Mucopolysaccharide plus protein, mucin in saliva. So mucin is a conjugated protein. Metallic proteins or metalloproteins or chromoproteins. So these are synonymous, okay, metallic proteins, metalloproteins or chromoproteins, and its example is globin plus iron, that is hemoglobin. Now protein derivatives, products of partial hydrolysis of proteins. So when proteins are hydrolyzed, broken down, then it forms the simpler form. So it will form the shorter polypeptide chain, and its example is peptones and proteases. So these are also the example of enzymes Now the classification based on function, or simply you can say the function of proteins. So structural proteins. Structural protein will form the structure of our body, like collagen and elastin helps in the formation of tissues. Storage protein, albumin store the protein. So albumin is the storage protein. Enzymes helps in biochemical reactions. Certain hormones are there. Hormones are also responsible for various processes that is happening inside our body. So it is responsible for metabolic process too. Immunoglobulin, that is antibodies, it is the part of our immune system. It helps in gaining the immunity. So it is the part of immune system. Now the clotting proteins, okay, clotting proteins, fibrinogen converted to fibrin. So always what happens, any protein or enzymes or hormones are not always active. When it is needed, then it becomes active. So initially, naturally, they occurs in our body as in inactive form. So when a particular kind of enzyme or proteins is needed, then it is converted to active form from its inactive state. Okay, so fibrinogen is present in our body and it is soluble in water, but it is converted to fibrin if there is cut in our finger or somewhere in our body parts, then fibrinogen will be converted to fibrin and prothrombin will get converted to thrombin, and these two will help in blood clotting so that blood oozing will be stopped. Now the carrier proteins. So channel proteins, aquaporins, etc. are the carrier proteins which will carry the molecules across the plasma membrane or any membrane, organelle membrane. Okay. Now the contractile protein, that is actin and myosin, helps in muscle contractions. Transport proteins. Hemoglobin helps in transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide in blood, so it is also known as transport protein. Helps in transportation of molecules such as oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now the glycoproteins. MHC complex helps in self-identification. Like if you might have heard about the organ transplant. So it is very crucial to match the donor and recipient blood as well as histocompatibility complex, so that it can accept the foreign organ as its own. And if it won't accept it as its own, what will happen? There will be graft rejection. So whatever thing is responsible for the recognition of or distinguishing the foreign organ as self or non-self is the MHC complex. Okay, so MHC complex helps in self identification and it is unique for person. Okay, for a person it is unique. Now the binding proteins helps in binding of two or more molecules. Example, DNA binding protein, RNA binding protein. So DNA and RNA binding proteins, DNA binding proteins will help in replication, and RNA binding proteins are helpful in transcription, translation, I guess. Yeah, translation. Okay, so it will help in the genetic expression, these binding proteins. And many binding proteins are transport proteins are also considered as binding proteins. It will bind with few molecules that is present outside the cell, and it will carry it along with it to inside the cytoplasm. So one example is fatty acid binding protein. So it will carry fatty acid from the extracellular space to intracellular space through the membrane. And other binding protein is GTP binding protein, that is also known as G proteins. So G proteins is also known as binding protein. It helps in cell signaling. Okay, and it is present in the lower plasma membrane, lower layer of the plasma membrane. So this is all about the proteins. Thank you.